So me and my bro, Strongworld, were discussing the next possible arc in One Piece, and we don't believe it'll be the Big Mom arc or the Kaido arc. We together have found a whole new possibility with loads of evidence, and stay tuned to the very end to figure out what I mean. So to start off, we know that Sanji is the third son from a family of assassins, the Vinsmokes, but what might their purpose be? They seem to have organized the marriage between Sanji and Purin along with Big Mom. This was to gain something we are not yet aware of. I believe I have found the truth behind the Vinsmoke family and what their intentions and powers are. To start off, let's figure out why Capone was involved with this whole mess, and let's look back at his debut in the New World. He was sucked up by a mysterious floating mini-planet, and he now ended up being a dog for Big Mom and the Vinsmokes. I believe that this mysterious planet isn't a natural phenomenon in the New World. I think that it's a power of a certain group, and that group is the Vinsmokes. I think that this power could be that of Sanji's family members, which is what allowed them to float over the red line from north to east blue, preferably from his father or maybe his grandfather. Now this planet is like a flying fortress for Sanji's family. The reason I think it could be his grandfather I will explain in a moment, but to elaborate, whoever has this power more specifically has the power of the planet fruit, or maybe the orbit fruit. Now in Greek mythology, I noticed something. Gaia was the creator of Earth in Greek mythology. This means that she has the power to create planets and basically control them. And Uranus is the ruler of the sky. So I think that this ties into the flying fortress we saw in the New World, which could be due to the Vinsmoke's devil fruits. Now I know this is starting to get crazy, but this can be explained by their grandson, Hades. And regardless of whose power this is within the family, I am sure that this is the power of the Vinsmokes. Remember, Capone isn't just being a messenger for Big Mom, but also Sanji's family. So when he was caught in the gravitational pull of this mini-planet, he may have met up with Sanji's family and worked his way up to become a messenger for them, or some kind of important position. Now Gaia and Uranus both had a son named Cronus, and Cronus had 3 children, one of which was Hades. And looking back into the family's background, when Buggy was reintroduced in the New World, it was mentioned by him that due to the fall of the weapons trade from Dressrosa, mercenaries had become popular in the black market. And who do we know that happens to be a family of paid killers, aka mercenaries? That's right, the Vinsmokes. Now with this, we can conclude that Sanji's family is connected to the black market in some way. We saw many mysterious faces in the Shinokuni Underworld broadcast. Some of these look like they could be definitely related to Sanji. Maybe this old dude is Sanji's grandfather. He also has an aviator hat on, which was used by people who fly a lot. If Sanji's grandfather flies around on his planet, these gigantic planets, it could definitely be him. And back to Hades, I believe that Sanji is the representation of Hades. He was the ruler of the Underworld. In One Piece, the Underworld is the same name Oda chose for the black market, which Sanji's family is part of. This is just one factor of many, and here's some other evidence. Now Sanji has been shown to release a Haki/spiritual aura of Satan. Now this is the Christian version of the ruler of the Underworld. This power may have been inherited by his father who had the Haki aura of Cronus, Hades' father, and this is where he got his Satan power from. Since Hades has the power of the Underworld, like Sanji, this could be the representation of Sanji being Hades. Now the wiki also states that Hades received a magical helmet from the Cyclops that makes him turn invisible, and don't forget that Sanji's dream is to become an invisible man. Now Hades' grandparents, more specifically Gaia, created and controlled Earth and planets, as I mentioned earlier. Even though Gaia was a woman, maybe his grandfather represents Uranus, who had sort of a similar power. And Oda may have given Sanji's grandfather this mysterious planet creation power and control, since Uranus is the father of Cronus, who's Sanji's dad. Now this is pretty similar to Killua from Hunter x Hunter, who Oda seems to have taken a little bit of inspiration from in terms of the assassin family. So Sanji's grandfather and father might be very powerful, similar to Killua's family. Now Cronus, Hades' dad, had 3 sons. And since Sanji is the 3rd son, this could mean that his dad only has 3 sons as well. And him representing Hades is very important. That is because in Greek mythology, Hades has another name, which was Pluton. This is a crazy discovery, but what could it mean? I don't believe that he is actually Pluton, since Pluton is the name of a warship, or it's a warship, but rather he is the pawn or a key for getting Pluton. Oda has done this before with Blackbeard, who in real life was named Edward Thatch, and they were both names of people who had Devil Fruit powers stolen from Blackbeard in One Piece. I've seen some people saying that Sanji's family trains CP0, the elite assassin and intelligence group of the world government. I agree, not only did we see Rob Lucci watching the Shinokuni broadcast, but he was also investigating the underworld trade in Dressrosa that had fallen, which the revolutionaries stole from. This angered CP0, which shows they value the underground trade as well, which the Celestial Dragons take part in. If you see where I'm getting at here, I think this is a clear indication that Sanji's family and CP0 plan to declare war on the revolutionaries to steal back many of the illegal weapons they have taken, which Dragon seemed cautious of. Not just that, but more importantly, the Pluton. CP9's mission was entirely set on getting the Pluton blueprints from Frankie, so I doubt CP0's current mission is any different, but this time with the real Pluton. If you remember correctly, Robin read the poneglyph in Alabasta, giving the location of the Pluton away. And who did she meet during the time skip? Dragon. We see that Dragon wants to summon all the revolutionary armies into one spot, but why? This is because Robin helped him find the location of Pluton, which he plans to seize, which will give him the victory that he hopes to soon achieve. Dragon warns of CP0 for a reason, and I think he knows that they are onto him and his plans. And correct he is, because their ultimate goal is to take the Pluton before Dragon gets to it. But why? Sanji is wanted alive, which shows his family obviously is important to the world government. Their training of CP0 could be one of the reasons for their importance, but also because they need this marriage between Sanji and Big Mom in order to win against the revolutionaries. Sanji might be the only child of the Vinsmoke family that has been found, at least now that his bounty was released. We know that Killer might be kind of related to him in some way, maybe a brother, so his mask could be currently covering him up, whereas Sanji now is confirmed to be a Vinsmoke member. And so when they found his poster, they immediately went after him, since he was the first one they could find. Now, having a Yonko on your side is a much bigger deal than the Navy, who the world government controls. This is because, remember back in the Marineford, when Whitebeard completely destroyed everything, only at a percentage of his power, and he was able to take on the admirals and everyone. Now, normally a Yonko would not side with the government in any way, but the spoils she can gain from winning this war, she cannot possibly pass up. So I believe her and the Vinsmoke struck up a deal using Purin and Sanji's marriage as a means for their alliance. Once it happens, they will be able to wage war on the revolutionaries with the help of a Yonko and her fleet. So we all thought the next arc would be about Kaido or Big Mom, which even I'm guilty of, but Oda is always being a troll about everything, and so it wouldn't surprise me if he actually plans to make this next arc focus on Sanji's family alone. While CP0, the world government, and Big Mom fight the revolutionaries, Luffy and the Straw Hats may go to the Vinsmokes directly, since Sanji's family seems to have these floating planets that pull stuff in with their gravitational pull. The Straw Hats might even get pulled up as well by their gravity on their way to Wano Kuni or the Tea Party, and this is where they can speak to Sanji's family directly. I think that Sanji may end up being able to escape with the help of one of his older brothers to fill his place. Then he will be able to go free and go with the Straw Hats to Wano Kuni. Obviously this war is going to happen, and Sanji can't get married or it would screw up the plot. So something may happen that allows for the alliance to still work for the Vinsmokes and Big Mom, such as his older brother marrying Purin in Sanji's place. If Bellamy is actually related to Sanji, he may fill his place to repay the debt of the Straw Hats. Now I know what you're all wondering, how does Blackbeard tie into all this? I think he's very important to this war though. Like Marineford, he may be a third-party faction that comes in late. Once both sides are focused on each other, he may sneak in and steal Pluton for himself. He's already stolen the two strongest devil fruits on the planet. And as the story has progressed, Blackbeard just keeps getting these overpowered advantages out of nowhere. So it wouldn't surprise me if this happens, as it would align with everything that's been happening. Now the Straw Hats have a similar advantage, and that is that they have Frankie as a shipwright who knew the Pluton's blueprints. And he may have implemented its features into the Thousand Sunny, which I've done a theory on, and that's why it has such high destructive capabilities that no other ship seems to have. So I think with this, Blackbeard may take the Pluton as his flagship, which will give him another overpowered advantage, And this will give the Straw Hats room to improve their ship, giving Franky sort of his dream of creating the best ship, his dream ship, which will overcome the Pluton itself. So tell me what you think. Tell me if this idea seems plausible. I hope you really liked the evidence I provided. And one more shout out to Strong World. Me and him worked together on this, and he was a huge part of it. So be sure to thank him if you see him. And I'll see you later.